Welcome to Scorpio Soul Time. This is my esoteric journey where I'm consistently learning progress over perfection. I have found a love for learning tarot as well as astrology, and I love to share new ways to help you and myself grow with the energies that are around us every day. I appreciate all of my old subscribers as well as my new ones. If you haven't had a chance to hit the subscription box below, I would love if you would just hit the bell and you will get notifications every time I have a new video. I try to put out a video at least every 2 weeks, which are like the new moon as well as the full moon cycles. But like today, we're actually going to talk about the sun moving into a new sign, which is Virgo. So I invite you to look through any of the playlists on Scorpio Soul Time. You can see how to, like, beginning tarot, how to read tarot, as well as all of the different playlists since April of 2019, when the new moon was in Aries, is when I first started this channel. So let's talk about today, the Virgo season. And I actually pulled out this Honorable Warrior card because, let me see if you can see it there. So I think this really represents Virgo, because Virgo is, I take a stand for positive change, brave, courageous, strong, passionate, bold, hardworking, territorial, competitive, decisive, heroic. And I think of those things with Venus, because Venus is all about being more of the earth, if you will. And the thing about Virgo is she's represented by the Virgin, and she is a earth sign, and she historically represented like the goddess of wheat and agriculture. And it's an association that speaks to Virgo's deep-rooted presence in the material world. Virgo qualities are usually logical, practical, and systematic in their approach to life. So you might find yourself wanting to become more organized at this time. I always find it interesting that Virgo coincides with like going back to school, getting back into the fall, you know, kind of like the lackadaisical days of like Cancer and Leo season when you were going through the summer. You're now moving into fall, where you have to get more deliberate about your intentions, things that you want to accomplish. And so Virgo really is that sign that is the Virgin, where she's like, you know, it's time to get down to business. It's time to really reap the benefits, or put in the time in order to reap the benefits later on in the fall when the harvest comes, etc. So all of us have some part of Virgo in our sign, in our makeup, because remember, we are all made up of all 12 zodiac signs. So in this Virgo season, I'm really interested in learning more about what is it in my own life, and you can think of in your life, where is it that you need to become more organized, more systematic. It's really interesting also with Virgo is that she also represents any of your value systems. So this can deal with money, work, career, and areas of your life that you need a better plan, or you just need to be more determined to your approach, or your goals and ambitions need to be refined more. So let's take a look. I'm going to put these cards to the side. And today we're going to use the Mythical Goddess Tarot. And I've used this in the past, and I really like these cards because they're all about different mythical goddesses. And so what better time of the year to use these cards? I'm going to show you a glimpse of them. They all have to do with motherly women, you know, strong women figures. And I think that going into this Virgo season, this is the perfect time to figure out, where is it in your life do you need more clarity, but clarity like around your resources. The last time we really talked about resources, time, money, opportunities was back in Taurus, remember? And during Taurus season, that is another time when we were really honing in on our physical world. So once again, we are now back into an earth sign. We just came out of Leo season, which was fire. And then we also came out of Cancer season, which was water. So now we are back into the earthly signs. So think through, as I shuffle these cards, what is it in your life that you need a good plan? You need clarity as to steps to move forward. You also might need, if you have questions, whether it's concerning your career, whether it's concerning a place to live, whether it's concerning your job, this is the time to really hone in, because once we get to the new moon, which is actually on August 30th, that is going to help you figure out what it is that you really need to get clear on. So let's see, we're going to do a present, a past, present, and future. And look at that. All of these, it looks like we have crone, seas, which in this deck, crone represents like the queen. And that's actually a water sign. So crone is almost like the queen of cups. Then we have for present, we have depletion. So that looks like it's almost like the 8 of cups. That's present. And then future, we actually have the death card, which would be a major arcana card. Let's see if I can get that in focus. And that is number 13, which would be the death card in our major arcana for the future. And I'm actually being asked to turn over the bottom card. Okay, so here we go. Self-destruction I have. So I'm showing, that one just came to me. I heard a voice say, pull over or pull out the bottom card of the deck. So number 10 is like the 10 of wands when it says self-destruction. So that sounds like that might be the overarching theme here of our reading. So let's see what the mythical goddess tarot has for us. So let's first start with the overarching theme, because I think it's very interesting that this snake and the fire, like I said, we just came out of Leo. And I think it's interesting that this says self-destruction, because the 10 of wands in the regular Rider-Waite tarot deck, 10 of wands usually means an ending to anything that could have been hard for you. It could have been a burden, and now you're going to step into something new. And that really represents, I think, going into the fall, because anytime you have had a lot of fire energy like we have with Leo, fire also can mean you, similar to the fire of the sun and the Leo, how we literally went through, you know, the last 30 days or so of just lots of fiery energy, lots of things going on. And it's like, once you get to the 10, you're ready to be done. You're ready to move on from the lessons you've learned. And I think that this card on the bottom is actually telling us it's time to rethink what you have learned through that Leo season. And now it's time, as we move into Virgo season, to put it into action. I'm going to read, those were kind of like the information I had coming through as I was looking at that card, but I'm going to actually read what 10 of fire self-destruction says. All right, so this rattlesnake with her fixed gaze brings her venom of fire as a danger sign that cannot be ignored. An immediate change of behavior is essential, or you will feel this rattlesnake's bite with the venom close behind. This viper is warning you that you are on a path of self-destruction. Your chronic inner struggle has led to exhaustion and debilitating burnout. What danger signs have you been ignoring? You must redirect your will from its destructive inward attack. Are you allowing others to assist you in this self-annihilation? Let the powerful transmuting power of the snake turn this behavior around. She is inviting you to align with her fire's transformative energy of creation and break the patterns of self-destruction that you may find yourself in. And as I'm reading this, I am thinking through to Venus, as you know, she also deals with your physical body. And for some of you, and I should say some of us, this I can already see is meaning when you just came through all that fire energy of Leo, are you feeling burned out? Are you feeling like you did too much during the summer, whether it was with your family, at work, in your personal life? Did you overextend yourself? You're basically on a path of self-destruction. And with 10 being the last card of the Wands energy, it's time to take a break. It's time to take a step back and figure out what you can do to make, almost like bring more energy to yourself this fall. So let's look at, now that we kind of see the overarching energy here, now let's talk about the past. So this past card says Crone, Resurrection, and it is, like I said, represents the Queen of Cups. And so you can see here, it's this more elderly woman who has like all this gray hair, and you can see that she really is really wise. But let's see what this signifies, because that almost looks like a snake again to me. I don't know if that's a snake or if that's supposed to be an octopus, but that purple is kind of interesting. But it's saying that something from our past dealing with our emotions, you've kind of like come to this point where you are looking like you're trying to learn from that information. So let me look up what, let's see, Crone, Resurrection means in the cups. Or I should say seas. It represents seas in this deck. So the Crone of Seas rises from the ocean's depths, reborn through the dark night of the soul. She embodies heart transformation and resurrection from death into new form. She is pure female being in expression, companion of the underworld, and renewed and resurrected through massive emotional change. The sea crone appears during powerful times of release and shift in your life. Let her lead the way through the murky depths of your personal underworld into the resurrection of your heart and expression. Welcome the change and renewal that is upon you. So I think it's very fitting that this is representing birth and regeneration, and this was just talking about the 10 of fire was just representing self-destruction and you're gonna burn out. So once again, you are getting signs that you've been doing too much. It is time to leave your old self behind, as this crone resurrection is telling you, and it's time to move into a newer version of yourself. So let's see what the present holds. And here is another Seas card, which represents cup. This one says depletion. So that's the 8 of Cups. Now the 8 of Cups in the Rider-Waite deck would relate to moving away from something. The 8 of Cups usually is like a person kind of slipping away in the night. He's going, I always say it's a he, but you can only see the back of them. But in the Rider-Waite deck, it is a person moving away from something, and they are kind of slipping away in the night, and there's a mountain that has all these cups, and there's 8 of them, and it's basically signifying you're emotionally ready for something new. You're emotionally ready to move away from something old. For some people, this could mean that you're actually going to be moving residences. You might be looking for a new home. You might be moving away from old thinking. You might be moving away from something that was emotionally draining, and now you're moving to something new. So on this card, though, you see that it's these, looks almost like beached whales, doesn't it? So let's see what the mythical goddess tarot says for the Eight of Seas. And everything seems like it has this energy of moving on from something, leaving the past behind you. Beached whales lie ashore on gray sands under dull skies. There is no vitality, no light, and little water and life in this landscape. This card is a caution against burnout and emotional depletion. Your heart must have the nourishment and attention it needs, or a severe toll will be taken. You are worthy of love and deserve to be surrounded with those who love and inspire you. Taking time daily for your emotional well-being, it is top priority for you to nurture yourself and pay attention to your feelings so that you may realize your value in the world. Wow. So I think that you can kind of see where this is going, right? We basically have now been told by 3 cards, you are tired. You have spent all of your energy. And if you do not course direct yourself, you are going in a direction that is not healthy for yourself. And I think that it's interesting that these 2 cards are more probably dealing with emotions, since it's the seas, refers to the cups, while this self-destruction was relating to fire. Fire usually has to do with willpower. So already those are almost sounding like health issues, people in your life that could have health issues, that maybe you're just like running. Maybe you're ignoring health concerns that you may have had. Even people around you, like, have you noticed that the people around you are tired and listless? And this could also relate to anything that you've been thinking about, like hearing that little voice in your head but have done nothing about. I find that with myself a lot, where you see a pattern with yourself. I was telling my husband the other day that, oh, my hip hurts, I think it's just the rain. And then he was like, don't you remember you told me months ago that your hip was hurting? And I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that, but that was something different. And he was like, well, maybe you need to start writing this stuff down, so if you go talk to a doctor or someone, you can actually have a journal of kind of like the events that led up to where you're at. And so I think that's like a really good piece of advice for all of us as we move through this Virgo season, because Virgo is really like tangible ways. It can deal with your health, but it can also deal with your environment. Is your environment toxic? Is this more showing your home life, or even your work life, or just do you need to change up something so that you can move on to a healthier you? And that really is what this Venus season is telling you, is that it's time to get back to yourself and make really tangible plans to move forward in a healthier way. So the future is the Death card, and that is 13. So this is a major arcana card. This would relate to number 13, death, in the Rider-Waite tarot deck. And in the Rider-Waite tarot deck, death is usually like a skeleton figure inside of a knight, like armor, riding in on a horse with a flag that has like corn on it, symbolizing it's time for old things to be shed away, and it's time for you to reap the harvest of new, whether it's new information, new feelings, new emotions, new resources, new opportunities. The Death card to me is one of the most positive cards to receive in a deck, because to me it signifies that your old self is gone. It is time for you now to resurrect yourself. And remember, here with the crone resurrection, that's exactly what we were being told in this past card, was it's time for your old self to be shed, because you are being depleted of everything that once served you and no longer serves you because of your self-destruction, and you are now ready for new beginnings, new life. So let's look at, in the book, I'm going to read what number 13, death, or it says Kali at the top. Let's see what number 13 major arcana card wants to tell us. Kali, the fierce ancient Hindu goddess, is the very power of death and resurrection. She devours time and transcends all form. She brings massive and total transition. Kali is the dancing goddess who has the power to destroy all life. Kali assists you in facing your fear of pain and loss, that you may be free to receive her protection and move forward. During times in your life when it seems your world is coming to an end, Kali provides the constant reassurance that through the Scorpio cycles of death and destruction, of outmoded form, rebirth comes. Through the shedding of what no longer serves you comes ultimate freedom. So you can see through this entire reading, we are getting the same messages. That it's time for your past to be burnt. It is time for the self-destruction to end so that you can resurrect yourself. Everything in this Virgo season is pointing to you having a rebirth, a resurgence into a new, more vital new you, but also finding vitality in the things you do. This could be a new health routine. This could be a new way of accomplishing goals at work. This could be a new way of working with your peers. This can also just be maybe you getting more organized. Maybe you're tired of coming home and not being able to find anything in the kitchen pantry, and it literally takes you 30 minutes to prepare a meal because your whole pantry is looking crazy and you can't find anything. Or maybe it's about you being more efficient. Maybe it's time for you to rethink your way that you go about even just going to work in the morning. Maybe this is just like a season where the universe is trying to guide you into a healthier version of yourself. And I find it interesting that this Crone Resurrection card and this 13 are both pointed to Scorpio. The resurrection and the whole death and rebirth. And if you look at it, this self-destruction is kind of mimicking that same type of theme, where the self-destruction has to do with like the fire of like the phoenix, and then the death card, this is relating to Scorpio, as well as the crone is relating to Scorpio. So I guess in this Venus sun season from August 23rd through September 22nd, it's really time to reinvent yourself. It's time to move into the fall, because the fall is the time when it's time to reap all of the benefits of the seeds we've sown during the spring and during the summer. But remember, you will not be able to reap anything if you cannot move on from the past, if you're not able to actually recognize what no longer is serving you. So as we move into this Venus season, please remember, it's time for self-care, time to get organized and really hone in on what needs to go, what no longer is serving you, what no longer is working, and really take time to kind of listen to your inner self. If you're tired all the time, that's not normal. Something is going on with you. If you need to visit a doctor, if you need to visit maybe a new therapist, maybe even just getting outside and walking each evening when you come home from work, or getting up in the morning 30 minutes earlier. I started this new routine now where I get up and do the rebounders or the trampoline for 15-20 minutes in the morning, and it really gets my blood going, your lymphatic system going, and it really has you, you're excited to go to work after that because you're like, you know what, I already got my exercise in for the day. So maybe it's as simple as that, just changing up a little bit of your routine. I think that you're really going to notice a difference, and the universe here is telling you there's something that needs to go. So think about that as we head into this Venus sun season, and I look forward to talking to you for the Venus new moon reading, which happens on August 30th. Okay, well, I appreciate your time. Have a great day, and thanks for joining me on Scorpio Soul Time. Bye.